Some conversations will be mind-blowing and you'll sit there and you'll have the most profound change.
I'm back in the room. Hi, it's Jani's 52 Conversations, and yes, I've been missing in action again. And if you listen to any of my little bits in between, you will realise that the reason for being missing is sometimes the things that show up in our life are more important. They take priority, and we need to put our energy, our emotions and our intentions where they need to be. However, I'm back. I've got Steve with me, and that's where we left off in the last one. So anyway, Steve, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thanks. I feel pretty well, and my appetite's come back, and it's sunny outside, so that's always a bonus, isn't it?
I was going to say that's a few positives right there, isn't it? You know, that we've got sunshine. It's shining here, so directly after this, I'm going outside before it disappears, because it always makes us feel better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it definitely does.
The last conversation that we had, we kind of touched on so many things, and I was kind of thinking, where do we want this conversation to go today? And we started off obviously talking about, you know, how you're feeling. So maybe that's a space to go, because one of the things that you talked briefly about was kind of living with an illness. Were those the words that you used? I don't think they were exact words. You used different words, but
yeah, I think I said I identified as someone who had kidney disease because it was prevalent in my mind at the moment, because I'm going through, you know, kidney failure and stuff. But before, I didn't identify as much because it wasn't affecting me.
No.
But now I'm not getting symptoms. I'm on dialysis 3 times a week, so I'm kind of at a kind of an even keel, I guess. It's as if my kidneys are working, but I'm having this treatment to replace the kidneys, and obviously it's not a long-term solution. I'm in the process of having a kidney transplant, so once that's done, I can kind of get back to normal in inverted commas after that. Yeah.
Whatever normal is. So
yeah.
I'm intrigued by the use of the language in terms of identify. I mean, how has your identity changed through having this awareness, through having this experience? And of course, I know, and you know, obviously, that this is your would be going into your second transplant. Yet you mentioned previously that the first time you were ill, you didn't really know what was going on anyway. It wasn't the same. So does it feel very different because now you understand it differently and you have a whole different awareness?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I do. I feel like I was more prepared this time because I knew what to expect, but then I didn't have any symptoms the first time round. So I think a part of me was thinking I won't get any symptoms this time round. But this time round, I got all the symptoms imaginable. I lost my appetite. I couldn't walk very far. You know, felt extremely tired a lot of the time, and I was sleeping 18 hours a day. But then, you know, my day-to-day experience, I was just going through the motions, really. It wasn't, even though I was ill, I didn't allow myself to get really bad mentally.
I was pondering that whilst listening to you, and it's going to sound strange, but I'm going to ask the question the way that it came to my mind is, what's it gifted you so far?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's definitely given me perspective and appreciation for my health, and being able to go out and walk the dog and be able to eat food again. Because I didn't eat for a couple of months properly.
So did you do food replacement in any way then, to make sure that you were kind of keeping your nutrition up? Because you say I didn't eat for a couple of months, and although it was a million years ago, or it feels like it kind of makes me think about when I was pregnant with Nicola, who's 27, nearly 28. But I was one of those people that was in and out of hospital because I couldn't eat, so I just vomited the whole time. And back in the day, they gave me this substance which was called High-Cal, which is like a glucose disgusting syrup that supposedly had everything in it that a body needs to thrive on. And it was so revolting that it also made me gag, but some of it would stick in, or they would just put it on a drip to make sure that I got something. So, how did you manage that? Was it literally you just didn't eat very much or very well, and you lost the weight that you wanted to, not in the way that you wanted to? So maybe that was a gift as well, I guess. I mean, what did you do though? You just struggled to eat what you needed to eat, or you came up with a plan of, I have to have a certain amount of nutrition and food in my system to literally be alive and be here?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, yeah, I was a bit overweight as well, so that was a buffer really. But I was given milkshakes similar to what you described, that had all the nutrients in. But I got to a point where I couldn't even stomach those. It was only like a small bottle as well. And I'd try and drink one of those, and it would come back up. So I got to the point where I was really frustrated. I couldn't hold anything down, not even water. And then I couldn't hold down my tablets for a bit, which obviously I needed those because they're keeping the kidney from rejecting. So yeah, it did get quite bad. But then after a few weeks on dialysis, it cleared everything out really. Right.
So with dialysis, getting onto dialysis, your turning point?
Yeah, definitely. I had to keep pushing the doctor for it because I was, I know they're experts in their field and they see a lot of people, but we know our own bodies as well. And I can compare to, even though I didn't have symptoms the first time round, I knew I was getting ill and I needed dialysis. Because I couldn't hold down any water, and it turned out that I had about 32 litres of excess fluid in my body. So where I hadn't been eating and I couldn't pass urine, all of that fluid was staying in my body.
Wow.
And so
that's a huge amount. If I just think about that, I was like, where on earth was it all?
Yeah. Well, it was all over really, as in my feet were quite swollen as well. So I had like swollen ankles, feet, legs. But then the rest of my body looked the same as it did before, which was kind of strange because I was about 5 stone heavier than now. So the lack of eating got rid of the fat, but then the fluid replaced the spaces where it was.
That's bizarre, isn't it?
That's bizarre, yeah.
But, and then when you go on to dialysis, then that water retention, that disappeared?
Yeah, over time. So they take about 3 litres per session. So it was only over about 3 weeks that I lost the 5 stone, which is, if you're doing that, yeah, if you're doing that normal weight loss wise, that's not obviously very healthy, but it was only fluid that was coming off. So there was some on my lungs and that was making it uncomfortable to sleep and everything. And once that was cleared out, I just felt so much better.
It was interesting, the point that you said, that the doctors are the people that know, supposedly, from their medical opinion. Yeah, we as individuals, we know our bodies really well. So one of my questions before you even said that was it hard to be heard and to be seen, to be taken seriously of, there's something going on here that, I need to have something happen ASAP. Was that a hard thing to get heard?
Yeah, it was. I kept trying to tell the doctor, and if I hadn't have pushed it, the next appointment would have been January, so I would have got even more ill over Christmas and then more overloaded with fluid. So I kept pushing it, and the thing that persuaded him was the actual blood tests. So I kept saying I need dialysis. When is the right time to go for it? And he kept saying not yet. But then after the blood test, it confirmed what I was saying.
Yeah. So then he had to listen.
Yeah.
So as I'm going to call you me. We're service users, right? We're service users of the great NHS, and I'm not knocking the NHS in any way here, because when we get into the service, equally everyone has had pretty interesting experiences over the last couple of years, specifically around COVID and stuff. Do you think though that there's going to be a change for you, for people like you, getting services now or not? It's a big question. It's very broad, I know, but I know here in Hereford we're still struggling to see GPs in person. Do you know what I mean? It's like they want to do telephone consultations all the time, don't they? And there's a lot of people that they're just not going to get the benefit that they're supposed to be getting from that.
Yeah, I think it is slowly getting better, especially for kidney patients. But in my example, there's no room in Swindon, so I have to go to Oxford. And that's just one example of, I guess, services being overloaded. There's only a certain amount of beds in Swindon, and there's a bit of a waiting list for that. So Oxford take the excess patients from all over the south, really. So
that's a bit of a journey to add on to your daily routine of going for something like that in the first place, right?
Yeah, it's an extra 3 hours of travel on top of like the 4 hours on treatment as well. So it's not ideal, but it's keeping me well. So
absolutely, it's keeping you going, and it's getting you to the point of transplant. So my next big question then is those hours spent in dialysis. What are you doing with those hours? Because there's lots of people who will probably go in their naivety, oh wow, you get to do nothing for a couple of hours. I know it's not that simple. What are you doing? Listening to music, watching stuff? What do you do? Do you sleep? How does that time pass?
Yeah, it's a good question. I do start to see it as kind of forced downtime, because you can't go anywhere. So I do try and read like personal development books, or maybe watch a trashy film that I've been putting off for ages, or I'm yet to do any drawing in dialysis, just because I'm connected up on my left arm and I can't move it.
Right.
Yeah, I have to keep the left arm really still. But I could potentially draw with my right, but I haven't.
So you left-handed? That was going to be my question then. Are you left-handed?
Oh no, I'm not left-handed. If I was, that'd be even worse. But no, I'm right-handed, so I do have a spare hand. So maybe I will give it a go when I'm there. But yeah, the time does go quickly generally. It'd be very different before the age of technology and smartphones. Well, you could obviously read a book still, but there's so much more you could do now.
Absolutely. So I guess there's different capabilities there, aren't there?
Yeah.
So, we've ended up talking very much about your illness, and maybe that was just the way that it was supposed to be, because that leaves us open to talk lots about art in the next instalment that we're going to do. So I'm going to ask this question though: have you finished that painting that you were doing? Are you on dialysis? Is that done?
Oh yes, I have. Yeah, I submitted it to a few art competitions, and also I sent it to a load of kidney charities with my story to see if they'd publish it. So I've got replies from 4 charities, and they're going to put it in their printed publication on their website and stuff. So it's
that's awesome. So it's kind of like you're raising awareness through your experience and your art.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I like the idea of that. It's one of those things that I call inspired action. It's just something that come into my head one day, and then then I just emailed the people. It's one of those things that feels effortless. I'm sure you know what that's like.
Yeah.
Rather than forcing something or struggling with something, it's just, oh, that's a good idea, let's do that, and then
just doing happen. It right.
Yeah, and it's not hard, and it's fun, and you know.
I really like that, because I think it's this thing, isn't it? We can get stuck on a thought. Yeah, there's so much effort involved. Whereas if it is just, oh no, I've had this thought, I'm going to do it, and we just go do it.
Yeah.
And we don't attach anything else to it. It's just, let's go do this. So
yeah,
I think that's a really nice thing. So,
yeah, if only if it was all that easy, but I guess some people do live like that. But
yes, and it's like, how could we live more like that? Do you know what I mean? And there's definitely people that live exactly like that, aren't there? But I guess that's a whole different plane of consciousness, probably, because there's so much going on otherwise, isn't there, in our daily lives?
Yeah,
that we're kind of that are pulling our attentions, taking our attentions, and consciously bring yourself back to know this is where I am, and this is what my purpose is today. Sometimes just doing that and getting to record 52 conversations is like, no, okay, that's not life-threatening, that can wait. And you know, I've been taking that kind of thing seriously, thinking, you know, oh my God, I'm letting myself down, I'm letting people down, and I'm like, no, I'm not, I'm doing what's right. And I think this always coming back to, you know, can I go to bed at night thinking I've done the right thing? Pretty much most nights it's exactly that. There might be some things, so I wish I'd done this, or it would have been cool if I'd fitted that in. Yet, you know, if no one's going to die, then it's okay, isn't it, kind of thing. So if you were going to leave some inspiring words, because we're going to keep this short and sweet, and some soulful inspiration for anyone listening, what would it be? What's today's tip?
I don't know, the one that comes to mind is about standing up for yourself in terms of your health. Like we always take doctor's words as gospel, and we don't really challenge it, but just have the confidence to ask for a second opinion if you want, or explain that you disagree with the doctor or health professional, like I did, because some of the time I tend to be quite timid with confrontation, but I just had to tell him. I think the same to anyone watching this, if you've been putting off, you know, checking your health or things like that, it's just, health is all you have. You don't really realise it until you are ill. Just to look after yourself.
I think that's a really positive statement for all of us to take from this conversation, that exactly that, if there's something you've been putting off, ignoring, whatever it is, go have that conversation, and don't be put off by the authority figures, I guess. Is the right word, because we have that thing, don't we, some of us, not all of us, where we look at these people and we think, oh, I can't question that, or I can't disagree. And actually you're the proof that actually sometimes you have to say no, you have to listen to me, because I know my body better than you do. Despite
that's right.
all the scientific knowledge, you know your body better. You knew 100% what you needed and how important it was. So it's good that you're feeling much better, and hopefully, I guess, for a future conversation at some point, not just the art one, we'll be talking to you after you've had a kidney transplant.
That'd be great.
And that will be pretty awesome.
You
know, on the next journey for you. So thanks ever so much for spending time with us today.
Thank
Have
you.
a good day doing whatever it is you're going to do. I'm going to go out to that sun before it disappears, and
that sounds good.
Enjoy that. So whatever it is that you do, enjoy it, and thanks for spending time with us, Steve.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.